Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Our mission, as always, is to cut through all that noise and get straight to the insights that matter. Today, we're diving into, well, the real engine room of the global economy, the global business and financial market. This isn't just stocks and bonds, right? It's the whole network trade, investments, how companies operate across borders. And our goal today, it's pretty simple, give you a shortcut, basically, to understanding the honestly surprising growth and the big forces shaping things over the next decade or so. Okay, let's unpack this. And when I say surprising, I really mean it. I mean, check this out. The industry was valued around $447 billion, $447.3 billion in 2021. The forecast, it's set to hit a pretty staggering $912.7 billion by 2033.
That's more than double.
Exactly. That's a compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of 6.12%, which is, quite healthy.
It really is.
And here's where it gets really interesting. A lot of this is fueled by, well, digital platforms becoming integrated everywhere, fintech innovations, that's financial technology, of course, plus crucial cross-border investments, and these really vital financial inclusion efforts, getting more people involved.
Yeah, and beyond just the huge numbers, what's fascinating here is what this means. This growth, it kind of reflects a basic redefinition of who gets access to finance and how. It's not just bigger deals or more money flying around. It really shows how economies worldwide are, well, not just functioning, but actively evolving. Innovation, interconnectedness, these are the drivers. So today, we'll break down this big global picture. We'll look region by region, see where the established players are. But also, crucially, where the really dynamic, sometimes explosive growth is happening. It might challenge some traditional ideas about financial centers.
That's a great way to put it, challenging traditional notions. So if the whole market is shifting like this, what does it actually look like on the ground, region by region? Let's zoom in, maybe take a sort of regional tour. Where should we start?
Well, let's start with the familiar one. North America, often seen as the mature giant in finance.
Okay, North America, right? So we're seeing its dominance continue. It's projected to go from about $176.4 billion in 2021 up to $348.1 billion by 2033. Still huge numbers.
Huge numbers, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the regional CAGR, the growth rate for North America overall, it looks really modest. It's 0.06%. Now, that sounds tiny, but it actually shows something interesting about mature markets. You can have massive absolute growth, billions added, but the percentage increase is small because the base is already so large. Think of it like a giant adding muscle, not necessarily getting taller at the same rate as before. It's stability, scale, not stagnation. It's just a different growth rhythm.
Okay, that makes sense. Maturity versus explosive growth, it's a different phase. But even within North America, are there specific areas or trends bucking that overall modest CAGR, showing faster growth?
Yes, definitely. Even with that low overall regional rate, the U.S. is still the powerhouse, no question.
Right.
It's projected to hit $275.6 billion by 2033. And its CAGR is actually a pretty respectable 5.49%.
Okay, so much higher than the regional average.
Much higher. And that's driven by, its strong capital markets, investment banking, and this constant push for tech-driven financial solutions.
Makes sense.
But it's not just the U.S. Look at Canada. It's actually showing stronger momentum, a 6.82% CAGR. It's climbing towards $46.3 billion.
Interesting.
And in Mexico, too, is on a good path, growing at 6.24%, heading to $26.1 billion. That signals, wider financial access expanding, more investment flow across Latin America generally.
Okay, so North America, mature overall, but with significant internal drive, especially from the U.S., and notable momentum from Canada and Mexico. Let's hop across the Atlantic now. Europe. Another established player, right? But maybe with its own unique story. The numbers show Europe expanding, too, from roughly $131.7 billion in 21 to about $259.5 billion by 2033. The CAGR there is 5.72%. Pretty solid.
Solid indeed. And within Europe, you see the big economies, Germany and France, really leading that expansion. France actually has one of the strongest growth rates in the region. It's hitting a 6.49% CAGR. That's significant momentum.
Wow. Okay, France is really moving.
Yeah. And Italy and Spain, they're also expanding quite well, above 4.5% annually.
What about places like Switzerland or Luxembourg? They're always mentioned as financial hubs.
Right. And this raises an important question, doesn't it, about how different places contribute. Switzerland, Luxembourg, their percentage growth might not be as high as France's right now, but they play this incredibly steady, really significant role, often quite specialized roles, global wealth management, international finance. So maybe they aren't leading in just sheer market size growth, but their stability, their specific functions, they make them absolutely vital to the whole global system.
That's a crucial distinction. It's not all about the percentage growth number itself, it's about the role they play. And interestingly, you mentioned the rest of Europe category, often Central and Eastern Europe. That part is actually growing the fastest.
Yeah, exactly. It's 7.13%. That really points to these dynamic new financial ecosystems emerging. A lot of catching up, a lot of innovation happening there too.
Very fascinating. So Europe, solid overall, France leading the growth pack, specialized hubs providing stability, and emerging dynamism from the East. Now, if North America is mature and Europe shows enduring strength, where does Asia Pacific fit in? It feels like that's where a lot of the buzz is. And the numbers seem to back that up, growing from $90 billion in 2021 to nearly $196.4 billion by 2033. That's a robust 6.94% CAGR, definitely an accelerating engine.
Absolutely. Asia-Pacific is a major driver of global expansion right now.
Yeah.
And China, of course, is leading the charge in terms of sheer size. Its revenues are expected to cross $57.6 billion by 2033. That's heavily supported by its, huge fintech sector, digital banking everywhere, wealth management services growing rapidly.
Okay, China's big. But you mentioned earlier, sometimes the most dynamic growth isn't just the biggest player. Here's where it gets really interesting, I think. India, it stands out, right? The highest regional CAGR.
Solid.
Right, an incredible 7.70% CAGR for India,
What?
projected to reach $30.6 billion by 2033. And this is driven by this really powerful mix, financial inclusion efforts, bringing millions into the system, a booming startup scene, and just incredibly rapid digital adoption across the whole country.
That financial inclusion point seems huge, especially in a country the size of India.
Oh, it's transformative. What's fascinating here is that this isn't just an economic trend. It's a profound societal shift. Think about it. Digital banking, mobile money. It's giving hundreds of millions of people access to formal finance, maybe for the very first time. That's not just convenience. It's empowerment. It fuels new businesses, creates opportunities.
Right.
It genuinely changes daily life on a massive scale.
Yeah, you can really picture that impact. It's not just numbers on a spreadsheet. Okay, so beyond the giants, China and India, what else in Asia-Pacific? Japan?
Yeah.
South Korea?
Japan and South Korea, they're showing steady mid-range growth, continuing their established roles as, major developed financial markets. Solid, but not the explosive growth rates we see elsewhere in the region. Got it. And any other hotspots?
Definitely keep an eye on Singapore.
Mhm.
Its CAGR is 7.48%. Really strong. And the broader Southeast Asia region, too. 7.29% CAGR. These are clearly becoming major financial hubs, really increasing their global influence.
Okay, so Asia Pacific, China leading in size, India with explosive growth and social transformation, steady players like Japan and Korea, and rising hotspots in Singapore and Southeast Asia. A really dynamic picture. Let's shift continents again. South America, what's the story there?
The data shows strong expansion here, too, growing from around $30.2 billion in 2021 up to $67.2 billion by 2033. That's a 7.02% CAGR.
Right.
Pretty impressive.
Very impressive. And Brazil is leading the continent in terms of market size, expected to hit $20 billion by 2033.
Oh,
But interestingly, Argentina is actually growing the fastest, a blistering 7.56% CAGR.
whoa, Argentina. Okay.
Yeah, and it's not just them. Colombia, Peru, Chile, they're all contributing significantly too, with growth above 6% per year. And even the rest of South America category shows really robust development, 7.36% CAGR. It seems quite widespread. So it's not just one or two countries carrying the region.
Exactly. And if we zoom out for a second, that kind of broad-based, strong growth across South America really suggests significantly improving financial systems overall. It points to more investment, both foreign and domestic, and definitely growing fintech adoption across the whole continent. It looks like real, holistic, regional development, not just isolated successes, more integration into global finance.
Okay, South America, rising strongly and broadly. Now, how about the Middle East? It often has a different economic profile. The numbers here show more moderate growth, from $15.5 billion in 21 to $27 billion by 2033. That's a 4.53% CAGR. Saudi Arabia seems to be dominating, expected to be over $10 billion by 2033.
Yes, Saudi Arabia is the major player there. A lot of that growth is really underpinned by these ambitious national diversification plans, like Vision 2030.
Right, moving beyond oil.
Precisely. It's a strategic push to build up other sectors, including finance. The UAE is also expanding notably, at 5.72% CAGR, really cementing its role as a key regional financial hub, especially for trade and increasingly innovative ventures.
So that diversification strategy is key.
Absolutely critical in the Middle East context. It shows how deliberate government policy can really shape and drive financial market expansion, trying to build new economic engines beyond traditional resources. It's less organic, perhaps, more strategically directed growth in some ways.
Got it. Strategic diversification driving moderate but important growth.
Okay.
We've covered most of the globe, but there's one region left, and the data here, well, hold on to your hats because this is pretty striking. Africa. It's emerging as the fastest growing region globally for this market, by far.
Yeah, the numbers are incredible.
Surging from just $3.3 billion in 2021 to a projected $14.2 billion by 2033, the CAGR. Nearly 14%.
14%, that's massive acceleration.
It really is. It feels transformative. Not just impressive, genuinely surprising.
And within Africa, Nigeria and South Africa, the two largest economies, are both growing incredibly fast, above 13.6% CAGR each. This is heavily supported by things like mobile money banking on your phone, essentially digital banking services spreading rapidly, and more investment flowing in.
Mobile money seems particularly huge there.
Absolutely. But astonishingly, the rest of Africa category, it's actually growing even faster. 14.36% CAGR.
Wow. So the growth is incredibly widespread across the continent, too.
It really is. And what this whole trend screams is that Africa isn't just growing, it's genuinely emerging as maybe the future frontier of financial innovation and growth. The power of mobile money and digital banking there, you really can't overstate it. For millions, it's providing access to financial services that just didn't exist before. It's driving financial inclusion on an unprecedented scale. It's like they're leapfrogging the old, expensive infrastructure brick-and-mortar banks everywhere, going straight to digital. It's completely reshaping local economies, individual lives. A fundamental shift.
That's an amazing story. Leapfrogging technology to drive inclusion and growth.
Exactly. So if we try and bring this all together, what's the big picture? We see this global business and financial market on a really dynamic path, right? The fuel everywhere seems to be digital transformation, fintech innovation, cross-border investment flows, and this really crucial drive for inclusive finance. You've got the established giants, North America and Europe, growing their huge markets, focusing on stability, specialized services, that kind of thing.
Right, the mature players.
Then you have the accelerating engine of Asia-Pacific, China's scale, India's explosive, almost socially transformative growth. South America is rising steadily, showing broad development. And then, maybe most strikingly, Africa, with just unparalleled growth rates, potentially redefining what a financial market even looks like. And this really highlights something important, I think, these different growth rates. They reflect very different stages of economic and financial development around the world. Each region has its own unique set of opportunities. And challenges, too, of course.
Absolutely. Which leads to the big question, right? So what does this all mean for you listening to this?
Well, this deep dive hopefully helps you grasp these fundamental shifts, how businesses are going to operate, how governments manage economies, how all of us as individuals will likely engage with finance-making transactions, investing, building wealth globally over the next decade. These aren't just, abstract numbers floating around. They're kind of like blueprints for a future where finance, access to it, innovation within it, is more central than ever.
It really is shaping the next decade.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, maybe here's something to chew on. With this explosion we're seeing in digital finance and financial inclusion spreading so rapidly, especially in places like Africa and India, how might this fundamentally reshape global power dynamics? Could it even redefine what we think of as a traditional financial center over the next 10 years? Are we moving towards a more decentralized financial world? Definitely something to ponder. Thank you for joining us on the deep dive. Keep exploring, keep questioning. We'll see you next time.